How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting, and welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia, where last week was a big info dump episode, but I kept it all in one piece. It seems like everyone's pretty happy with that, and I gotta admit, I'm very impressed that this story has been able to really surprise me. I really felt like, as things developed and as the twists and turns were coming, I thought I started getting a feel for the way things were going to play out, and so far I've been really surprised. I really thought Michiru was going to do like a psychological turtle and just tuck into herself, but instead she actually got to have a lot of time out in the spotlight, and Dark Michiru didn't really manifest. And now we've gotten a lot of backstory, which includes like just the harrowing past and trauma that she faced, like completely isolated essentially. Her struggles in school, her first real friend who also did something so terrible, like made just an awful choice when her life was really spiraling, and Kevin leaving Michiru all alone, and that her heart kind of gave out on her, and she ended up getting a new heart, and the new heart came with memories, and it seems the personality of another individual, whom is Dark Michiru, who I guess tried to like be her friend, and that led her to just really trying to go after herself. And then I also think about like that the perspective of her parents, how much it must suck, because her parents like went to all the trouble to try and get her heart condition fixed, to get her a brand new heart, like a donor heart. Those are hard to get. Like they took her to America to kind of, you know, make it happen essentially, and they got it. And then she tried to take her own life, and like that just sucks. And now she's here, and that probably wasn't, like, in the grand scheme of things, wasn't that long ago. I mean, no one in this school has been at this school super long, like more than like a year, I think. And so all of these incredibly crazy events happened to her very recently. Dark Michiru's been interfering ever since, but Michiru doesn't know about that very much. It's really interesting, and while it seems that Michiru, being in such an unstable state of mind, we're recommending she goes to a hospital, which is really good. It is kind of the right direction to go, because like, she needs help we can't get her, and so hopefully we can get her to that position where she can maybe find a little bit of solace. I'm glad that Yuuji has been able to be there for her in a sense. And I've also been reading a lot of your comments. I'll probably go more in depth on the feelings and how I feel about this playthrough and this walkthrough of like Michiru's story in like greater depth once I've experienced everything else in the game. But for the moment, just know that I have been taking your thoughts into consideration. I gave you some detailed responses, but I don't want to go into that too much right now in the video. I'll save that for the rap party most likely, or maybe even just the end of Michiru's route. So we'll get to that. Anyway, let's jump right in. Enough rambling. Let's go. Ah, well, looks like I'm going to end up indebted to Chizuru yet again. I spent my walk to the principal's office ruminating on Michiru's story. Her tale's still fragmentary, and the plot's tangled. Deciphering it's going to be difficult. Might even turn out to be one of those books you can spend a lifetime on without ever finding a conclusive interpretation. But even so, I've decided to keep turning the pages. Why? Because it feels like the thing to do. Simple as that. I like how honest he is. Like, that's the best thing about Yuuji, is like, he's not gonna like, he won't lie without good reason, and when he does, he'll usually tell you. After we parted yesterday, Michiru slept soundly through the night, sharing the burden she'd carried in secret for so long, even momentarily. Must have brought her some relief. I explained the situation to Chizuru, and had her arrange for an investigative stay at a nearby hospital. Of course, this involved enduring a great deal of sarcasm and sniping, but the principal wasn't about to refuse to help a student in need of medical attention. I can't say whether she was moved more by my pseudo-parental affection or my professional concern for her responsibilities, but I suppose it hardly matters. I don't like that, like, he's saying, like, you're, like, the pseudo-parental affection? No. Like, a good friend, or, you know, a romantic partner, which we don't know. Yuuji's somewhere in the middle there. We don't know what exactly he is, but we're like, they can be just as influential and as concerned and be willing and like be the catalyst that gets somebody to go to a hospital for a mental check into mental stability. Like, people can sometimes get all like taboo about the whole idea, but like, frankly, I would prefer, if I'm having a mental breakdown, I'd rather be asked to go to a hospital for a little while. That's the thing, is it's not like it's an asylum. Like, we keep equating like going to a psych ward to an asylum. That's really not the case at all. It's meant to be a place where you go get treatment like you do if you have a critical injury. You go to the hospital to get a treatment, not to keep you there. It's such a big leap to go from like the psych ward to an asylum. Like, there's a massive gap there. There used to not be, which was scary back in like 50s and 60s when mental health was really just not understood or even like attempted to be understood. Yeah, it was a much shorter skip over there, and that's scary. But thankfully, we've stepped away from all of that. You know, we did away with that with lobotomies. Like we're away from most of that when things are a much healthier place now. Anyway, early the next morning, I prepared to see off Michiru. Normally, I'd be pulling on my sweats and heading out for a run right now, but today I'm skipping that. An exercise routine is only meaningful if you follow it faithfully. There's no point in doing it at all if you take days off, but I understand that some things are more important than a training schedule. Amen. Some things can withstand a day's neglect. Others can be lost in a heartbeat. Difficult as it is to accurately define the difference, prioritizing them accordingly is absolutely crucial. That's such a great way to say it, too, without so many words or trying to have to spell it out too much. Yeah, some things can take a day neglect, some things can't. Make sure you know which is which. I head upstairs to Michiru's room and knock lightly on the door, but there's no answer. She's most likely still preparing for her departure. Please. It's generally understood that women take their time to get themselves ready to go anywhere. Deciding it's best not to rush the girl, I patiently stand in front of her room for some time. Finally, deciding that we need to get going, I call out to her name. Michiru? Michiru? But again, there's no response. I suppose it's a little early for her. Maybe she's still sleeping. Considering what we've seen in the recent past, I feel like a welfare check is well within our rights. Michiru, everything all right in there? At last, there's a quiet answer from inside the room. It's kind of sweet. Strikes me as a bit of a strange request, but I obey. Michiru. Michiru? Michiru. After repeating her name numerous times, I hear a rummaging sound from within. A moment later, Michiru easily opened the door, dragging along a small suitcase as if it were loaded with bricks. The girl's wearing strangely dressy clothing. What's with the outfit? Aww. Sweetheart. Aw, that's actually really adorable. But like, come on, like, here's the thing. Having been to the hospital for many things, I haven't had to go to said psych wards, thankfully, but I have had numerous reasons to go for physical problems. My body has attempted to A, kill me, or just eject what it deems apparently as unnecessary organs in the most violent of means. Like, I'm talking, I've had a gallbladder go down on me. My appendix tried to kill me in high school. High school. Do you know how many people have had their appendix try to burst in high school? That's me. And a couple others I'm not going to get into. Just needless to say, I've had far too many surgeries. I also know for a fact that, like, yes, it's nice to dress up, and I totally get it. It's very sweet. But as soon as you get there, please, just get in sweats and a loose shirt. Let yourself be comfortable. Goodness knows, hardly anything else in the hospital is going to be comfortable. Sure, but you're only going for a week or so, right? You'll be back soon enough. What's the point? It's true. He doesn't. Oh, who's they? Sakaki, huh? Aw. I'm sorry. Michiru pouts a little, clear shade of melancholy in her eyes. Seeing her take this attitude, I feel a twinge of reluctance myself. Maybe the girl could stay. My help might be enough to pull her through the worst of it. Well... Don't leave after all, let's stay together. I mean, that's risky. Interesting. I didn't expect to have a choice here. Okay, I think I know what I'm gonna go with. It's like it leaps out at me right away, and I'm trying to make sure I'm thinking things through, because like I think I'm gonna go with the how about a kiss before you go, but for two reasons. Number one, is because emotions are highs and lows like the tide. And emotional stability kind of exacerbates that. For where most of us go through like a tide, highs and lows, it's up and down. We have days that are like suck, we have days that are awesome, and we kind of bounce around between these two extremes. When people are in such a state where like they don't value their own existence to the point where they don't value their existence, like the tide's not much as a tide. It can be just like a normal tide, but then you can have the seas roll back and then the tsunami roll in, and that's like the upheaval levels that you were talking about here. Is just because the ocean looks the same every day doesn't mean you shouldn't watch for the warning signs of the tsunami. And when those signs are there, you see like rumblings or like know there's been a recent earthquake, equating this to like major life upheaval, risky attitudes and actions. Just because they seem all right at the time, like the tide on the beach, doesn't mean that it's always going to stay that way, nor that you shouldn't be very, very careful. So, despite the fact that like there's that guilt of like, maybe they don't need to go, maybe this is extreme. No, I'd argue that if you've been concerned enough that you bring up the idea of them checking into the hospital to keep themselves safe, and they agree, because most of us really don't like to think of ourselves as needing help, and it's very difficult to persuade us that, like, especially psychological help, we need to like reach out for. If the person can admit to themselves, okay, I really probably should go, that's a pretty good indication they should go. They might get released in 2 days, sure, but they let the professionals deal with that. Like, just because they have last second like trepidation, get nervous right at the last step, or like they seem really fine and balanced at the time, like once you've made that decision, you gotta commit. So that's my reason for not saying don't leave after all, let's stay together. That's just playing with fire, honestly. It's undue, because he's right. It's a very temporary thing, most likely. The second option, a kiss before you go. First off, it'll make her night, well, her morning. So good on us there. Secondly, like it actually was something that was mentioned in the H scene, which was interesting because like it made a particular point to like where Yuuji made a mental note saying she seems to really enjoy and really be like infatuated with kissing, like the kissing itself. She seemed to very much enjoy and very much respond to in a positive way. And he actually made a mental note. He actually said like, I should remember this for later. So that again reinforces this idea that like she might be behaving normally, but I'm sure she's feeling nervous and worried, and she's like she's scared that she might not see us for a while. In fact, she might still be contemplating some of these really dangerous and like harmful ideas, which might again be why she's dressed up really nice, which is not like, I hate putting everything in that context, but again, it's like one of those things like you can't just toss that option or that potential aside. If she's hoping to have like a memory, and a memory that might even be an anchor to help keep her grounded and help her be like, you know what, maybe there's something positive to look forward to, I feel like this is the way to go. And it's really odd because like Yuuji doesn't really know how he feels about this whole situation yet, and I think Michiru kind of doesn't either. So yeah, all that rambling aside, that's my mental, like that all that happened in like the 10 seconds since this popped up on the screen, and I just kind of worked my way through it all, but I wanted to share it with you. So yeah, how about a kiss before we go? How about a kiss before you go? Can we just make this one no? No, just a kiss. Oh, wait, what is he saying? Oh, she's saying, oh, you want to make believe again? No, like, she seems grumpy, but he's like saying, like, no, let's not make believe, let's just have a kiss. Like, I would be like, wait, whoa, wait, what? The way you put that slightly pisses me off. Oh, that's actually really funny. she pulled a Yuuji face. Oh, who's that? You can't be serious, right? Oh.
今日は珍しく朝早く目が覚めてしまいましたので、ワックスがけでもと思いまして、校舎の廊下に白濁液をぶっかけては吹きを繰り返していたところです。
Wait a minute. I was just about to comment out, like why is she phrasing it dumping milky white liquid all over the floors? I was like, why would they translate it like that? That's really weird. And then I heard it, the word. I'm worried that YouTube is gonna catch it. I guess it probably won't. Bukkake. Like, she said that word, and so it kind of hit me. I was like, oh, okay, I get why they did that translation now.
そうなの。お二人こそ揃ってどうなさったんですか？それは
We're going to have her looked at.
検査？
That's right. Michiru collapsed from anemia a little while ago, remember? As a precaution, we're taking her to a hospital for a thorough examination. Nothing too serious. She'll be back better than ever in no time.
あ、そうなんですね。でも確かにそれならすぐ済みそうです。
I'll let the others know later. Try not to worry too much.
はい、わかりました。心配は少しだけにしておきます。
Okay.
そうなのよ。心配なんてしなくていいんだからね。あと、サチ。あれだ。ちょっと外に出てなさい。
She's like, yeah, don't need to worry about it. Can you, like, leave? I was getting really excited about something for a second there.
はい、わかりました。びっくりした。サチがいるなんて知らなかった。
Really? I saw her hovering around out of the corner of my eye.
だったら先に言いなさいよね。もしかしてそれでキスしてやろうかなんて言ったの？
This almost looks like... This here almost looks like Dark Michiru. No, that had nothing to do with it. How about it? Want one?
もういい。だってサチとか急に出てくるし、そういう気分でもなくなっちゃった。
Come on. In that case, let's get going. I'll carry your luggage.
ありがとう。でもそれも大丈夫。自分でできるから。
It should be dark out here, but okay. Dragging her wheeled suitcase loudly along the path, Michiru turns her head slowly, surveying the campus.
いざお別れとなると名残惜しいね。
Don't get all sentimental. You'll be back soon enough.
ユージが冷静すぎるのよ。いっつもさ。
Yeah, ironically, it's genuinely him. That's the kind of thing. Is he kind of comes off as a guy who like feels like he's like trying to project cool, but it's funny because it's actually just his personality. He just really doesn't care about superficial things, and he's very like, just kind of like, It's really funny because like it's been memed to death, and so it doesn't mean anything anymore. But he is almost like the pure Sigma. Sigma male, but ironically he's actually probably more what the alpha male people think they are. So like, I don't know how that works anymore, but the whole idea about like he's quite happy and content with himself. He doesn't feel like he has to justify anything he does. He doesn't feel like he has to like keep up appearances of any kind. He doesn't have to like fill a perception that others hold of who he is and what he's all about. He just is. He's Yuuji. And I think that's healthy for Michiru because he's cool-headed, he's cool, he's oblivious and kind of an idiot, but it's just who he is. It's just how he is. Alright, here we are. Watch yourself out there.
行ってくるね。その前に
Did you change your mind? What's wrong? Need to piss? Gosh darn it, Yuuji!
違う。あんた本当に意地悪ね。そうじゃなくて、さっき言ってた。その。
The kiss?
してほしいんだけど。
You sure?
いいよ。
Sachi's staring at us, you know.
She
actually is!
なぜここに？なぜと聞かれれば、みちる様が外に出てなさいとおっしゃりましたので、学園の外に出て待っておりましたゆえ、としか返答できませんが、何か。
I mean, it's fair. I'm glad he warned her, but part of me thinks he shouldn't have.
そう そういうことね。わかったわ。では最後にもう一度だけお願いを聞いてくれる？はい、何でしょうか？ちょっと向こう向いてて。はい、かしこまりました。ほら、早くキスして。
Aww. That's really cute. She's just like, can you just turn around? Because she's like, if I say the wrong thing again, it's just going to get blown out of the proportion. So I'll just quickly, just turn around. Quickly, come on, let's kiss. Michiru practically collapses against me, and I press my lips firmly against hers. Our hot breath mingles together. The wet sound of saliva swapping fills the air. Aww. Good enough?
満足だ。サチ、こっち向いていいわよ。はい、そちらを向かせていただきます。
Sachi. Michiru's cheeks are still slightly red, but Sachi gives no outward indication of curiosity or suspicion. Because that's Sachi for you. I'm looking forward to doing Sachi's route because I gotta know what the heck's going on in that, like, hamster ball of the head she's got.
乳児にちょっと用があったのよ。悪いわね。で、あんたにはこれ。
What?
部屋の鍵ですか？そう。私がいない間に、もし暇で他に掃除をする場所がなくなったら、私の部屋を掃除してもいいわよ。
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of signals. I was kind of hoping they weren't anything, but like these signals are saying like she doesn't plan on coming back. Like she might go to the hospital, she might even get treatment, but I think that she might be planning to just call her parents and ask to go home. Or something. Hopefully that's it. Hopefully it's not something more dramatic and drastic, but I'm hoping that if she is thinking along the more like the darker line of thought that could be, getting treatment could help her. Maybe change gears from that direction. Because it's like, some of the signs you look for are like dressing up really like nice, giving away personal items. These are like genuine warning signs of like a potential big major decision that can be irreversible. That's scary. I mean, other things too, like the whole sleeping together. Like that could have been her just kind of doing a Hail Mary type thing. Like I'm just gonna try and get some of this stuff done that I've always wanted to do. You know, so like it's like they're starting to stack up. Like once is kind of like a passing thought. 2 is like of interest, but 3 is a pattern. And so I'm worried.
はい。ではそうさせていただきます。白濁液をぶっかけさせていただきます。
Again. There it is again.
その言い方やめたら。
I know, right? Where'd you even pick that up?
さてと。
Michiru takes a deep breath and turns to face me once more.
ユージ、今までありがとう。
With those words, she bows her head deeply. Cut it out. Coming from you, that just feels weird.
そうだね。お気をつけくださいね、ミチル様。当たり前よ。あんたもこれからもユージの面倒見てあげなさい。あ、はい、わかりました。それではまたお会いする日まで。バイバイ、サチ。
See, again, I hate it because it's like normally nothing, but she said like until we meet again to die, like you know, like until the day we meet again. She said bye bye. And what's the thing like they always say is like bye bye is too permanent. Like don't say that. And like normally it doesn't matter because normally it's just a really cute thing, but like now it's just stacking on top of this pile of Jenga of concern I've got. All right, see you later.
さよなら.
Oh, look how sad she looked right there. No! With a small wave, Michiru leaves the school, dragging her suitcase behind her.
考えすぎでしょうか。ミチル様、最後のお別れみたいなご挨拶でしたね。
Yeah. Don't know about that. You're probably just overthinking things. No, Yuuji, listen to her. I tried to reassure Sachi, but the fact of the matter is I am in agreement with her observation. Michiru left as though expecting never to see us again. After Michiru finally disappears in the distance, Sachi and I make our way back to the dormitory. In a reversal of the summer weeks, it's this time Michiru's the only one who's vanished from this place. It's gonna be a little dull in her absence. Guess I'll have to find some way to kill the time. Oh boy. Oh boy. How much do you want to bet things are about to get spicy? I ended up taking on the role of explaining Michiru's 1 week absence from the dorm to our classmates. Chizuru was in an unusually cranky mood, and, well, that pretty much covers it, actually. Grown women can sometimes behave in astonishingly childish ways. I mean, grown men, too. Life would probably be a little easier and less aggravating if not for this aspect of female psychology, but I suppose it's often the element of cuteness as well. Although in this particular case, I'm not confident that applies. That's right, this is just an observational stay, not much more than a checkup, really. Everyone was aware Michiru had been suffering from anemia, so the news didn't come as not much of a shock. As I carefully stressed that her stay was just to be on the safe side, they accepted my explanation without too much fuss. I wonder if anemia is a very common blanket term, because I hear it come up all the time. Is it a common ailment for people in Japan? Like maybe there's a genetic predisposition for it. Maybe it has to do with like the diet. I know that meat consumption, for instance, is not as common as it is for like a typical American diet. And that can be especially of like, like beef and I think pork can be sources of like iron. So maybe it is like it's a more common ailment in Japan, but I just don't know. Or is it seeming so common because a lot of people tend to use it to cover up other things, like other medical issues or psychological issues that they don't want to like talk about because it's like maybe a little taboo. So they're like, oh, it's anemia, because everyone's like, oh, okay, I get you. Because I legitimately have anemia. I've always had it since like, well, not always, but I've had it pretty much ever since I became an adult. Like ironically, from 18 on, I've just started having an anemia issue. I've never had too much of a problem. Like, I've got blood tests and had to like, I have to take iron supplements, and that's in addition to like eating iron-enriched food. And I've had dizzy spells and things like that can occur, but usually I don't feel anything from it. It's just more of a precaution because it could get really bad for me. And I've had a couple close calls, but, when push comes to shove, when it's all said and done, like, having had anemia, it's not been a huge interference in my life. The problems came after that. Without Michiru around, unexpected quirks began to appear in our daily lives, like an image gradually taking form on a sheet of a photo paper. The changes grew more distinct with the passage of time. Wait, what? Oh, okay. He's not saying literally. I thought he was saying literally like he was seeing ghostly images appearing on a piece of paper. I was like, what's going on? But no, he's saying like it's like the gradual change that comes from a Polaroid that as like things slowly fade in, it's kind of like as she's left, other like aspects of life are fading in or fading out. What's the matter, Sakaki? That's so? Alright then, I'll see you later. Again, he's just like, what's wrong? Nothing. Oh, okay. You really don't know how to be honest with yourself, do you? Oh, something up with Makina? Oh. I see. So maybe because Michiru isn't here anymore, like Makina's kind of exploding her randomness on other people more often, and it's imbalancing things. A nuisance? Elaborate.
誤解してほしくないのは悪口とかそういうことじゃなくてな。でもなんだか普段よりもずっとなんていうのかな、ぐいぐい来る感じっていうか。
I haven't noticed any such thing, personally. Wonder what's going on here.
あ、ユミちゃんだ。ねえねえ、ちょっと話を聞いてほしいのよさ。
Right. So normally when she would pick on Michiru, she switched targets. That's all it is.
あ、また今度ね。昨日もそう言ってたのよさ。ねえねえ、なんで用事があるのよ。だからまたね。
あれれ、おかしいな。
ねえお兄ちゃん、ユミちゃんに変なことした？
Of course it's us. Of course it's us. Don't be an idiot. Forget her. What's with you?
どうもしてないのよさ。ユミちゃんってばちょっと最近冷たいのよ。どうしたんだろう。急にあんな感じなのよさ。
I see. That's interesting.
どこが面白いのよさ。全然面白くないでしょ。はい、罰ゲーム。
Oh, okay. I refuse.
じゃあ、はい、何かしらのゲーム。
I'm getting the idea you just want to drag me into playing with you.
まあ、そうなっちゃうよね。チルチルがいないから退屈なのよさ。
At this point, the situation finally makes sense. Normally, Makina would be messing around with Michiru on a daily basis, but her favorite target's been absent for a few days now. Instead, Sakaki's been taking the brunt of her mischief. We've all learned to play along with Makina's demented games every once in a while, but a constant barrage of attention would be exhausting, hence Sakaki's irritation, which Makina interpreted as hostility. I see, so that's how it is. The girl's been playing an important role of her own right.
どういうこと？
I'm sure you'll figure it out soon enough. It'll be interesting to see what other effects emerge, if any.
もうお兄ちゃん言ってることよくわかんないのよ。
He's being very academic about it. I wonder why. Like, is that a defensive mechanism of his, or if he's just legitimately like, huh, I wonder what this is gonna play out like. Whoa. What's up with you? Oh, and now it's Sachi. What's wrong?
それが皆さんの頼まれ事をこなしていたらなぜかわかりませんが普段より疲れてしまって。
I wonder why.
お願いしてたお菓子は？
買ってきたよ。はい、これアメラツイスト。
Was Michiru like somehow coordinating Sachi's energy into like effective and like efforts? Like, was she somehow like juggling all of the like her own demands in ways that helped keep Sachi from just darting back and forth across, like zigzagging from hit to hit to hit to hit to hit? So instead of making like a usual maybe like 1 or 2 trips to town a day, probably just 1, she's now making like 5.
シール付きのアメちゃん。お菓子はアマネーが決まった数しかくれないのよさ。
Yeah, because she's like reasonable.
それをチルチルからこっそり分けてもらってたから、チルチルがいなくてお腹空いてたのよさ。
Michiru's constantly doing you favors, isn't she?
私だって世話してやってるからいいのよ、あれの。
It's not a thing. Now referring to her as a thing might be a step in the right direction.
そういえばミチル様に買い物を頼まれるとその商品はどこに売っているとかいろいろ教えてくれるので効率よく買い物ができたのですが最近そうもいかなくて。
She really was a lot more involved than she even probably thought. But like she literally was giving them instructions on like, hey, oh, I need you to go get me this. You can get it while you're getting that, that, and that. They're all from the same store. She's like yeah, she was like consolidating. She was almost like being an effective secretary, which a lot of people wouldn't think about, but genuinely, there's a reason why the job secretary exists. Like they are kind of a fundamental cog in the machine to make sure things go smoothly. Because if everyone's like laser focused on their tasks and nobody's coordinating anything, it just becomes a big mess. Like a good secretary it can be the backbone of an office or even like a whole company.
皆さんなぜか期間限定商品ばかりを頼むことが多いのでまず下調べが必要でそれに時間がかかり割とぐったりなのです。
It's interesting. From the sound of things, Michiru's been playing a middleman between the others, casually helping out and smoothing over a lot of minor problems over. Guess it makes sense. Sachi does so many chores at the school's Maid that it'd have to get stressful without a little assistance. I've noticed Michiru's acts of kindness once or twice before, but I hadn't realized her behind-the-scenes support played this larger role in the group's normal dynamic.
それではここで失礼いたします。
Sachi, I order you to take a break and not be dying.
サチ、お疲れなのよさ。
I wonder if Michiru was secretly giving Makina like sugar-free candy to keep her from like getting bad stomach aches.
あれあまねどうしたの？
さっちゃんに買い物頼んだんだけど、お願いしたやつと違うのよね。
あれま。じゃあ交換してもらう？
いや、ほら、さっちゃんってば責任感が強いでしょ。むしろ強すぎるでしょ。だから間違いとか指摘しにくいじゃない。
True, she is quick to jump on the seppuku route.
なるほど。確かにそれはそうなのよさ。
こんな時にみちるがいたら交換してもらったりできるんだけどな。
あまねもチルチルがいなくて困ってるの？
困ってるっていうか、まあ困ってるかな。
Man, I wish you were here to hear this. I see. Her over-the-top tsundere act tends to draw all the attention, but the girl's surprisingly helpful with the little things.
え？偶然でしょそれ。だってチルチルってバカじゃん？
Yeah, you think that, and she genuinely thinks that, but I'm really starting to see the genius that she is. Well, I won't deny she's a little naive at times.
なになに？最近ユージとみちるって仲良さそうだけど、そういうことなの？
Depends on your definition of something.
なにそれ？気になるんだからもう。
Trust me, it's not even him teasing, it's genuinely complicated. Okay. Michiru should be back in another 2 days or so. I'm curious about the results of her examination, but I've decided to refrain from contacting her beforehand. Probably better not to give the girl too much to think about right now. I mean, you could ask the doctor or something. Hopefully, she'll return before these small stresses the group's been undergoing build up into anything troublesome.
風見くん。
What? Here to file another complaint about Makina?
そうじゃなくて。これ、そういえば渡してなかったなって思って。
Is it going to be Michiru's gifts? Sakaki hands me a number of souvenir flags from her vacation, a half dozen to be exact. These for Michiru?
そう。できれば自分で渡したかったけど、なかなかタイミングがつかめなくて。それで、風見くんなら仲いいみたいだから、自然に渡せるかなって思って。
I kind of get it, but it really would be better if you could. Understood. I'll pass them on. Can I just tell her they're souvenirs from Sakaki?
そうね。でも、言わなくてもいいけどね。
Why is she getting so flustered about this? It's interesting. If I hand her 6 pendants without saying a word, she'll probably just be confused.
あ、そうか。じゃあ、そうしておいて。
Alright, thank you.
え？
I'm expressing gratitude on Michiru's behalf. Thanks for the souvenirs.
そうね。じゃあ。
Gotta get these things prepared for a smooth return. Since our maid is currently exhausted, maybe I should tidy up Michiru's room in her place? Then again, fiddling around in a woman's room without permission strikes me as a bit questionable. Also, to be honest, it would be pretty darn embarrassing if anyone noticed me doing it. Well, I'm sure Sachi will be willing to do it, overworked as she may be. Maybe I'll pick her up an energy drink. Mumbling to myself, I leave the dorm and head for the convenience store. Interesting. He's really kind of broody right now. Like, it makes sense, but... So it's been like 6 days now. Our routines have been disrupted by Michiru's absence, but I haven't been neglecting my training. Running through nature every morning gives you an intimate understanding of the passage of the seasons. These last few days, the air rushing past me has carried a smell suggestive of the imminent end of summer. Having finished my daily marathon, I took a quick shower in my room. Michiru should be back tomorrow, but it doesn't feel particularly real yet. Not that I doubt she'll be returning, but... I don't know, man. I kind of am. It's funny though, because like he's talking about the change of the seasons, like, and it really had like our first real like warm spring day. Like, we've had warm spring days, but today was like it was sunny, it wasn't windy, it was pleasant. It was that perfect temperature. So we were all very happy to be out running around in the street and talking to neighbors and doing all kinds of good stuff. Literally touching grass, I know. This was a purely observatory stay, so the real question is what results the hospital examination will have produced. Not surprising that I'd still feel a little uneasy, I suppose. Oh, no need for the formalities. Come in.
はい、失礼します。
Sachi enters my room, her expression slightly troubled. Do we have a situation of some sort? What's wrong? You've got a gloomy look on your face.
はい。みちる様の件でご
Oh
相談が
boy.
ありまして。
Alright. Prediction time. She went in to go and clean up her room, and all her stuff is gone. That's my guess. Michiru, you hear something about her?
いえ、みちる様がではなく、みちる様の部屋でのことです。
I bet you I got it. So what happened then? Let's hear the details.
はい。詳しく話してみます。ご存知の通り、私はみちる様の部屋の掃除を任されました。
Here we go.
そこで先ほど部屋を片付け、掃除機をかけ、最後に雑巾で床を水拭きさせていただいたのですが。
Okay, maybe not. So what is it? A Butterfinger-style dilemma, perhaps? Knocking something fragile over?
いえ、そのようなドジっ子的な問題ではないのです。問題というのは
A box?
はい、鍵のついた小さな箱でした。私はその中も整理しなくてはと開けにかかりましたが、道具もなしに開錠はできません。
Oh, well, in that case, no, that's fine. You shouldn't. If something's locked, it's for a good reason.
そこで電動のこぎりを用意し、みちる様の部屋でスイッチをオンにしました。
Sachi! Sachi!
ドドドドドというモーター音も心地よく、さあ、これで箱も真っ二つであります。ですが、その時にふと思ったのです。
Oh, at that point, imminent demise of said lockbox. That's when it hits you.
人の所有物を勝手に破壊していいものか。しかも、電の子で、と。
I suppose we should just be grateful the thought occurred to her before any damage was done.
落として割ってしまったとしても、それは自然の摂理ですから仕方ありません。ですが、意図的に破壊していいものかと。
Okay.
掃除を頼まれた時にどこまで破壊していいのか確認しておけばこんなことにはならなかったのですが。
Yes, I will clean your room. What's an acceptable level of destruction upon your personal belongings that you would find tolerable? I see. Alright then, I'll take care of that box. That should resolve your issue, right?
はい、そうしていただけるとありがたく思います。では、これがみちる様の部屋の鍵です。それでは私、まだ手をつけていない作業がたくさんあるので、失礼させていただきます。
You have a good night, Sachi. Sachi promptly bows and leaves the room. I drop the key on my desk and fall back onto my bed. Naturally, I have no plans of actually doing anything about this box. Considering that it's locked, there's probably something Michiru doesn't want us seeing inside. No need to go out of our way to poke around. I pick up a paperback and begin reading once more, but before I'm halfway through the page, there's another knock at my door.
風見さん、
What's wrong, Sachi?
実はドアに耳を当てて室内の様子を伺わせていただいていたのですが、何やら鍵を放り投げる音とベッドに寝転がる音。
I imagine it's going to be important for the plot that we address this box, but this is just getting ridiculous.
そして最後に読書を開始なさるような紙の音が聞こえたのです。まさかとは思いますが、風見さん、別に小箱ぐらいどうでもいいかなんて思われてはいませんよね。
This might be a decent thumbnail right here. It's disappointed Sachi. Wow, that's a powerful image right there. It's like, oh, okay. Like, she normally is so passive and just like kind of goes with the flow. To actually see her like scornful is interesting.
この小峰幸との約束を軽んじてはおられませんよね。
Calm yourself. I was just about to head over.
申し訳ございません。私、風見さんを疑うような真似をしてしまって。
I can't tell if she's intentionally guilt tripping us here or if this is just another Sachiism. Because honestly, it could be either one. Sachi's proven that she understands enough of this stuff to be able to joke around and play with puns and like she gets all that. But she also chooses to misinterpret things. Like, and I say choose because like there's gotta be times where she's purposely interpreted things. Maybe because it's funny? I don't know. Not a problem. Anyway, yes, I'm planning to go. What now?
いえ、一応みちる様の部屋に行くまでを見届けないとと思いまして、私部屋の掃除を任されておりますので、その最後の小箱まで面倒を見てこそ任務完了と。その作業の一部を風見さんに託した手前、万が一風見さんが別に小箱ぐらいどうでもいいかと。
Alright, I'm not neglecting anything. You want me to go immediately, right?
ありがたき幸せです。
What's wrong? I'm going to take care of the box. You can leave now.
はい、この小峰幸、ドアのこちらで処理が完了するのをお待ちしております。
You're such a handful. Fine, just got it. Just wait until I'm done.
はい。
I entered to find the room sparkling clean and neatly organized, just as Sachi said. The only thing even slightly out of place is a small box resting on Michiru's bed. It's an unassuming, simple little wooden chest, but notably solid and sturdy. You could imagine a pirate stashing treasure in the thing. Probably a handmade product from some local general store. Seems fairly well worn from years of use. Sachi, you still out there?
はい。
Sachi responds instantly. She's clearly hovering just outside, waiting for me to deal with the box. Feels like I've gotten roped into an explosive ordnance disposal detail. Taking the box in my hands, I begin to fiddle around idly with the lock. You're absolutely determined to have me look inside this thing.
そうですね。何しろ掃除を任されましたので、小箱といっても軽んじるわけには。
Alright. Just hold on a minute. Well then, what's the next move? I'm naturally a bit reluctant to open Michiru's private property without her approval. That said, I can't exactly stand around here all day. Have to think of some excuse to persuade Sachi. Sachi, my friend, where did you find this?
そうですね。普通に机の上に置いてありましたよ。
That's odd. I see. If she didn't hide the thing, doesn't that mean she didn't particularly mind if someone looks inside? Tricky judgment call. Crap, I was just playing around with the box absentmindedly, but it seems to have gotten the thing open without even realizing it. Curse my instinctive kleptomania. And again, it's one of those things where, like, I'm not sure what the writer's intentions are. Is it literally like the lock just kind of fell open because it's a very simple little, like, dollar store type of lock? Like, I've seen, like, little journals with locks on them that literally just, like, pull on it and it just opens because the lock mechanism isn't really all that, you know, what's the word? It's, it's complicated, but it's a better word for it. I don't know. It's not that complicated. So he's like, but oops, I unlocked it. Or did he just like unlock it himself and be like, oh, whoopsie, guess I just opened it. A mechanism this easily picked barely even counts as a lock. Surely you'd guard anything you really wanted to protect with a little more security. Guess it hardly matters now that I've opened it. Might as well take a look. Oh boy, buckle up. To be honest, I'm a little curious myself, and I've half convinced myself of the dubious theory that the girl actually wanted someone to look inside. Well, whatever my excuse, I open Michiru's box and peer inside. What's this?
風見さん、どうかしましたか?
Sorry, but be quiet for a second. There are several small notebooks and a number of photographs inside. The majority of the pictures seem to have been taken before I arrived at this school. Mainly casual snapshots and group photos featuring Michiru's classmates. But in each and every one, Michiru's face had been cut out of the image, the rest left intact, removing only herself from the world but preserving the others carefully. I don't like that. I thoroughly examined the photographs one by one. There's a shot of Michiru sandwiched between Makina and Amane, Michiru leaning against a slightly embarrassed Sakaki, Michiru having her shoulders massaged by Sachi. In every case, Michiru's face alone is precisely snipped out with scissors. At a glimpse, these all appear to have been taken in happy moments, but there's probably exactly why she did this. Michiru must have felt that she didn't belong there. The girl must have been unable to accept the presence of her false self in these happy scenes. Ishka. I remember theorizing way back in like episodes like 2 about like the reason why she would be acting so fake, and that it was predicated on this idea that she couldn't accept her true self. She was terrified of her true self, or didn't feel like she deserved something. I kind of ended up being right, but in like the most horrific of ways. The notebooks are filled with memos written in small characters, notes on the performance she'd been putting on in the school. There are also extensive itemized lists concerning Sakaki, Amane, Makina, and Sachi's likes and dislikes. Notes on what makes them upset and happy, clearly accumulated through careful trial and error. Seems pretty clear that the girl was using this as a reference for her many small acts of kindness. That girl, my honest thoughts slip out of my mouth against my will, is an idiot. She is, but she's also a beautiful, very lovely, and I'm not talking about like in appearance, like she's so sad and so miserable and really wrestling with her own, like questioning her own existence and whether it's worth it. Like she's really debating these very heavy topics. And yet she goes to the effort for, whether self-preservation or as a distraction, but she genuinely became a positive influence on the people around her. And she also was very meticulous at deflecting that away from herself so as to not appear so. She was doing everyone these little favors and just trying to help everyone have a good day. Whatever her motivations are, like self-indulgence or maybe as a way of trying to protect herself. Regardless, she genuinely and meticulously was just trying to be a good person to people. Even after all this effort, Michiru doesn't exactly pull off the charade, does she? Sometimes her act was more convincing than others, but as a whole, she was just trying way too hard. That tsundere character must have become part of her plan as well, but I saw through it on the very first day, and of course, everyone else also knows that's not her true nature. Even so, she stuck with it, convinced that playing the clown was the only way she could be anything but a nuisance. I'll give her an A for effort, but seriously. Handwriting seemed to be another weakness in Michiru's. Her thoughts and feelings spilled out across the pages in characters that even the most generous observer would have called sloppy. Again, why is Michiru some weird foil of myself? But I'm only laughing at first. The earnest notes on her classmates and dubious strategies of forming smooth relationships eventually give way to a diary. And its contents are largely occupied with a terror she feels towards her other self. Flipping through the pages, I jump through the story in chronological order. Alright, hang on. I think we're going to stop here. I kind of don't want to, but at the same time, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of interesting content revealed. I don't know what to expect on the short term, but if it's going to be doing a review of major events that have occurred throughout the whole game, from before we arrive to before she leaves for the hospital, there's a good amount of content that's likely to be in here. And I don't know if I want to feel like we're compressing it, nor I'm guessing I have a feeling he's going to run to the hospital as soon as he finishes reading it, and we're not going to want to leave. So how about we just stop it here, right on the precipice of some very interesting information, and we just give it our full attention next week. The week without Michiru, I feel like is a good amount of content to cover for today, so we'll have to just see how it plays out. But hopefully you don't mind. I just want to give it the attention it deserves. A lot of you said that you don't mind super long episodes, and you really don't feel like I have to apologize for it, but it's the thing. I make content in a way I feel like I would want to digest content, because frankly, my content, this channel, is the channel I always wished I could find, but never could quite find the right match for. I always wanted to watch a YouTuber who covered content in the style that was a lot more down to earth and serious, and not always trying to find these ways of making funny jokes. In fact, it's funny because RT Game and Lost Pause back in the day, but RT Game more recently, and Many a True Nerd, they've done, they're some of my favorite content creators that have done some visual novels. Graham Grump's done some visual novels, but they're always looking for the straight line. They're looking for the joke. RT's pretty good. He goes with the story, but he's genuinely just a hilarious individual, and so his videos are really fun to watch. But I sometimes wish he would just take it a little more seriously, because a lot of times I feel like these creators get caught up in what makes them great, but it can almost undermine the story that the visual novel is trying to tell, or any game is trying to tell. For most of the time, it's not a problem, and I genuinely enjoy watching their content, but I get that little irk sometimes where I'm like, why aren't they talking about it like this? Or why aren't they thinking about the characters as people? They're just kind of a platform to tell good jokes off of. And they're genuinely good jokes. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just, I've always missed that, like, more down-to-earth, like, real invested in the story type of channel. And when I struggled to find someone who did it in a way that just, you know, felt like the right fit, I just said, you know what, screw it. I'll just make the content I wish I could watch. Maybe I just didn't know where to find it. I'm sure there's channels that cover it better than me, but I've really fallen in love with making content, so I'm not going to stop. But yeah, I don't want to feel like I'm trying to rush. I don't want to feel like I'm making a video that I would struggle to find time to watch in the middle of my day. And I don't ever want to feel like I have to follow trends or setup. I've found what works and the rhythm that works for me, and I'm experimenting with different kinds of content. I'm having a lot of fun with that too, but this is always going to be my core. And so yeah, while I could make longer videos, I don't want to. And that's kind of the ultimate of it. I will when I feel like it should be, when I don't want to interrupt, when I'm on a big roll and I just can't stop myself. I'll make a monster of an episode, sure. And I might apologize for it because I'm super, super self-conscious and I always overthink everything I do. But in the end, I'm making these videos the long as I do because I like this length. So this isn't me apologizing. This isn't me asking for permission. This isn't even me trying to just explain things. It's just me kind of taking the moment to say, hey, this is why I've been doing things the way I have. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope we're all buckled up because this is probably going to be another train of pain. And I'm really, really excited, nervous to see what happens. So we'll have to get to that next week. Thank you so much for being here. It means the world to me. Thank you for the likes and subscriptions. Like, that's such a huge backbone to making a channel successful, especially when you're on the smaller side. So that all of that makes a huge difference. And you know, you obviously don't do it unless you want to. Like, you like the video, like the video. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe. But frankly, just being here is super amazing. So thank you so much. And then to the patrons and members, like, you've gone like above and beyond the call. I just want to do my best to keep making content that you feel like supporting, that you feel is worth supporting. So thank you. I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you. And I look forward to making something unique and interesting along the way. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Hope you have a wonderful time. And I hope that we get to continue to enjoy these stories together. So until next video watching me, if you see me next, I'll see you there.